It's 6:03, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Jill Smith is excused. She's away. All the board members are present. First up on the agenda is we have the July 8th, if you can remember, public meeting minutes.
Make a motion to accept the July 8th meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes accepted.
The same.
And the next meeting is August 26th here at Canterbury Elementary. Public communication and correspondence. Next up, we have board member reports. Mark, do you have anything?
I had none.
Actually, yeah.
Home day, we had a lot of our student athletes come out and run the 10 miler. They did good. It's good to see them out there. A lot of our alumni too. Fun had by all, and we had a couple of students who decided to help us out with the watering station, so that was great. Some of our people weren't around as normal, so it was good.
Very good, thank you. Next on the agenda is the new co-curricular activity for the BES Robotics. And there is information in the packet. One question I had was, it looks like, was this proposed in September of 24 and then signed in July of 25?
That Mr. Hill and Amir have been working on this for a while.
Okay. I was just confused as to why it looked like a year later.
I just had a question because under costs, it said advisor stipend may be provided by Appendix B, but it wouldn't be.
Down the road,
Okay.
it would be, you can see it's been edited because it said will originally. So
Okay,
maybe, because it's still going to be up to Appendix B as to whether they approve the stipend for it or not, down the road.
down the road. I just want to make sure that that was clear too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you remind me, what does down the road mean? It's a policy, right?
Yep, so they have to run for the year. Then the Appendix B committee would look at it in October of 26.
At the end of September, we would meet, and then we would make a recommendation to the board for October. And then that would take effect the following budget cycle, if the board approved it.
So essentially run for 2 years on a volunteer basis.
Yes.
This position would be specifically, well, volunteer position would be specifically for the elementary school. There wouldn't be, it wouldn't be like the middle school advisor stepping in, or is this something?
This would be specific to the elementary school, similar to CES.
I think wasn't there some overlap discussed about some assistance from the middle school, to get the program going?
Use of the kits.
Well, kits and just, knowledge as well.
I think overall our robotics program, the coaches as well, so hopefully we get the director at some point. They're all sharing their knowledge. It's all part of the same program. The discussions that I recall is mostly around sharing the kits.
Mm-hmm.
I may be wrong here, but CES, they've been CES have a specific volunteer to run the robotics program. It seemed to be the middle school coach was assisting where he could, and Mira was assisting where he could. It was more run by parents.
Yes,
Yeah,
this formalizes it,
okay. So
having
this,
advisors and coaches.
but this is only from Belmont though, not for Canterbury as
Yeah,
well.
Canterbury's already been approved,
Okay.
so we'll be looking for a similar position for Canterbury Elementary too.
They're basically a year ahead in the cycle, didn't they run this past year?
Not officially,
Yeah, they've worked under the middle school.
so we're starting at the same time as Belmont for the formal process.
Okay.
But our approval was a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
That's why it's ringing a bell for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's for, like, this would be the first.
For both schools, correct.
This is up for action.
I can make a motion to approve the co-curricular activity request for VES Robotics Club.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. All right, so now we have the student handbooks. All right, first in the packet is Belmont Elementary School.
As Mr. Hill's not here this evening, however, the wording is very similar to CES, so Mrs. Chuck can jump in on any questions around some of the new wording.
Good question. We're not voting on this tonight, are we?
No, this is a first reading.
Okay, all right. We probably should have fixed the action line. I didn't catch that originally. Okay.
No, you're-
So, yeah, we'll start with BES. You want to run into CES as well at the same time? We can do that.
And it's referencing, I know this is, but it's referencing policies that are up for first review tonight also.
Yes.
So it's all kind of.
Yeah, I did notice that. I
Kind
was
of
like,
stating the obvious, I guess,
Right.
but, you know.
well, when I was reading the packet, I hadn't seen the policies yet. I had only seen.
Me
this,
too.
and I was
So
like,
I'm like, I'm on policy and I'm like, well, I don't remember these. Where did these come from? I know why they're there, so.
I have a question. Let's pick up patrol. That's
Yeah.
probably told me what it was, but I don't remember.
So it's something we started using in the spring as a pilot, both elementary schools. And it's an app that parents can use to make transportation changes for their students. They are able to go in and create a default plan. For example, if their student always rides the bus, they can put that in. Or if their student is a bus rider some days and a car rider some days, they can put all that in. But then they also have the opportunity up until 2 o'clock on any given day to go in and make changes. And the changes automatically go to the office staff and then they automatically go out to the teachers. So it eliminates physical notes that kids often lose, or phone calls or emails coming to and from everyone. And last year, Belmont Elementary, Canterbury Elementary, and Belmont Middle all piloted and liked it. So we are formally using it this year, on the full year.
Thank you.
so when you say the teachers are notified,
Yes.
say I submit it, 1:59, right? How are they being notified? Is it through email? Because I assume they're not checking this stuff during the middle of the day.
So at 2:45 each day, this is obviously for elementary, it would be earlier for middle, they receive an email, which they can pull up on their phone or on their interactive TV in their classroom, whichever works best for them. And then the kids can actually see what their plan is.
All right, so you're displaying it, or the teacher's displaying it
Yes.
prior to release.
Compared to hand delivering notes, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I assume like the whole process is calling down to the office, and calling down to the classroom or whatever.
Well, we would avoid that because it would be many interruptions throughout the day.
Yeah.
But at Belmont Elementary and Canterbury Elementary, the process was to create a note that would be clipped to the classroom door.
Yeah.
And the teacher would be able to grab those notes. The problem comes into play when you have a change or multiple changes in a given day, which happens more often than you think. And sometimes notes get lost and things like that. So this is more efficient for everyone.
I would just say that I do see, there's not a ton, but there are some references to like other information that's later on in the handbooks. So like in the BES one, I don't know what page it is because there's no actual page numbers on this one, but it's page 39 in our packet where it says student-friendly bus rules are located on page 34. There is a substantial amount of information that's been added to these packets, so I would just say maybe cross-reference those and double-check that it is the correct pages because I did notice some in the CES one too. There were references like for the pages 37 and 38, and it's actually pages 42 and 43. There's just a couple of those.
Yeah, we always do that once you folks approve because the formatting changes things
Yeah.
and we go crazy in the drafting process,
Yep.
trying to align all that. But that is part of what we do when we finalize.
Okay.
Is Pickup Patrol different from the app that's gonna track the buses later on?
Yes,
Okay.
two separate.
So I'll say both for the Canterbury and the Belmont ones, I appreciate under the, I can't find it, the cell phone policy, talking about reaching out to the office and providing that office number for the families. I do question, have we thought about what the volume would be looking at for calls and stuff?
So I do think that this new law has less of an impact on elementary than it will on middle and high school because our students at elementary are already used to having to have their cell phone turned off and in their backpack. In meeting this summer, Ben and I talked about the fact that smartwatches are a little bit more of an issue, and I think it's more of an issue here than for kids at Belmont, where more kids are starting to wear those. And this past year, I did have about 3 or 4 students that I had to talk to about not texting people during the day and things like that. And now they won't be able to wear them at school at all. So at elementary, I think the impact is going to be very minimal.
CES or BES questions? All right. These are for action. Thank you.
Thanks.
Belmont Middle School. If you're scrolling, I think it's page 102 of the packet.
Thank you.
I think you can actually type 102 if you want to.
Oh, really?
Oh, so this is one thing I have from the middle school packet, which was, they included the school board schedule and the school calendar. I assume the school calendar was in the elementary ones, right?
It's another thing that we'll place in there when we print.
Do you include the school board meeting schedule as well?
Yes,
Okay.
it's toward the front.
Do you have anything you want to touch on?
Just a quick, I can give you a quick synopsis, evening, everyone. So you'll find noted changes in the form of the calendar that you just spoke to on page 7. It's a standard annual change. the names of new members of our professional team, staff that are joining the middle schools. It's a standard annual change. Alma, our information was just, this is a new program which was piloted last year. This is our student information system that we're using. So we also had a change, or just an update, with our 7th and 8th grade reassessment policy. This is to match the high school's policy of up to 5 school days.
That was 10.
10, yeah. Yep, so that was, I believe, a consistency request, and so we'll be doing that. Updated grade reporting changes to just the calendar about when we're issuing grade reports. That's standard. Updated requests for schoolwork expectations. This is something that we've added. The language in the new piece will say teachers are not required to provide classwork or assignments.
I have a question about that.
Sure.
What was the impetus of that change?
I think we get a lot of requests, and to the point of how many people are involved in that. You get a call into the office has to notify the teacher that, people taking vacation outside the school calendar will call in and request work ahead of time. And from a teacher's perspective, you can't plan for that necessarily. I'm not sure what I'm going to be maybe necessarily teaching. So what the language we're saying is we're not required to provide classwork or assignments in advance for students who miss school due to family vacations taken outside the school breaks. Certainly we want kids when they return from those non-calendar vacations to meet with their teachers and develop a plan to get caught up with that work. We just get a lot of that.
Yeah, well, I'm torn because part of me feels like, well, it's good for the parents to want to make sure they're prepared.
Sure.
But then it's like, well, does every student get their own schedule? And
Right.
It's like, I'm not sure. I have my own opinion about taking 2 weeks off before the school year on vacation.
Right, exactly.
I'm kind of torn, so I was curious. That obviously was highlighted, it stood out to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're going to hear some complaints about that.
maybe, yeah. So that was a change. Introduction to pickup patrols in there, that's a change to a handbook. Updated expectations for communication during the school day, which is legislation and policy. Promotion expectations, this is a little bit different language. Instead of saying, we just tried to clarify that students must successfully complete all 8th grade. Instead of parents of 8th grade coursework. We felt it was a bit vague, and we just wanted to clarify. The expectation is you're gonna successfully complete all learning standards. So we just wanted to clarify that. Updated homework guidelines.
Can I ask a question about
Yeah.
that? Are you saying, because I'm not so sure I'm clear, so does this mean everybody needs a 3 in order to go on to 8th grade in every standard?
This is for 8th grade students
Oh,
going into high school.
Going into high school.
Right.
No, okay, so does everybody need a 3 to go on to 8th grade?
No.
On to 9th grade?
No, we're not requiring proficiency. You have to pass with at least a 2, right?
So what does complete all 8th grade academic standards mean? I want us to think about that.
Sure,
Because
absolutely.
I don't know, I would be curious if there's a consistent definition
Yeah,
of what does complete all 8th grade academic standards mean.
yeah, I'm not sure I can provide you with a great answer for that, but what I can say is at the end of every school year, we review all students' performance, obviously, and we set up learning plans or remediation for kids who may need to work over the summer. We have some 8th grade students this year who had not completed below a 2 or even attempted 12 to 15 learning standards 3 and 4 learning centers in science, 3 to 5 learning centers, here and there. So we have to decide, so we want the expectation to be, we expect you to successfully complete all.
So all I'm saying is, I think we need a definition. We're gonna say successfully complete all, because I think what I might think and what you just described, well, I think it's different when someone's struggling and you have learning plans and you have all of those things, but maybe that's my understanding.
Well, what does successful mean?
Well, that's
Yeah.
Got it.
what I mean. So I don't, so the more clearer you try to
Sure.
get, it can actually be less clear. That's all
Gotcha.
I'm saying. So I'd like us to think about that.
I appreciate the feedback, and I think that's why we're here, so we can clean it up.
That's
Sure.
So on that, is retention an option?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I would say, and historically, we haven't retained students, but we're sending 1 or 2 students up to the high school this year that were retained last year in 8th grade because of significant learning not being attempted or just they were not ready to go to high school.
I want to also highlight this is about participating in this promotion ceremony, not necessarily going to 9th grade.
Yeah.
That's what this means to. You cannot participate in the 8th grade promotion ceremony. That does not mean that they will not be promoted to 9th grade. Because that's why we have summer programming.
Right.
Thanks.
Updated homework guidelines and academic. This was just an attempt to reduce the language. There was nothing changed in it. It was just really wordy and long. So we just tried to rewrite it so it was a little bit more concise. And then the last 2 were pages 52 and 53 were policy, AB, and then there was a tech piece in there, Google Apps information in the handbook. So.
The phone and personal electronic devices paragraphs, I think. Are those consistent with what we're doing at the high school as well, without me actually? Like, was there any effort for the middle school and the high school to have similar language?
Yeah, the 4 principals got together a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and we talked about some of the things that we wanted some continuity between the buildings. And that was one of the ones that Aaron and I talked about. It was interesting. One of the policies that you're going to look at tonight actually surprisingly suggested particular consequences for first offense, second offense, and shockingly, somebody stood up and said, "Hey, this is what you should do." Versus, I know a lot of the discussion about this law coming about was, you alluded to as an unfunded mandate, who's going to do what, and all this different stuff. So it was in alignment with that recommendation in that policy too. So I think a lot of what you're going to look at in the middle school and high school and in that policy tonight are going to be pretty consistent.
So using the cell phones in the main office to contact, are we doing that at the high school too? I mean, part of me is wondering why we're allowing that, period. Huh?
Why are we?
I mean, we're not allowed to use cell phones in schools, right? So even if we use them in the office. I don't want to get our hands slapped by some over-eager legislator. The law's the law.
No, it says,
Are you saying that they're using their own cell phones in the office? Because that's not what it says.
Oh,
Students may only
yeah.
use school phones in their main office.
okay, I'm like,
Yeah, you're right, I read it. So,
Thank you. We don't
was
allow
really
that.
like,
I'm going like, wow, did I
Yeah.
not read that? Jeez.
Aaron slipping something out.
I'm glad Matt bailed me on that one because I'm going like, oh, geez, I'm
Personal
not sure
phones,
what.
taking those from personal devices will not be permitted.
yeah, okay, so we're consistent on I'm very interested to see how this goes first.
I will say just our cell phone policy has been pretty tight for a number of years. We don't allow kids to carry cell phones. never mind,
Not just
you know,
phones.
use them. They're often in their lockers, period. We know kids hide them, but, but we're gonna follow the rules, so.
Middle school.
Do you, and this is probably for the high school too, though, do you talk about like Chat GPT and any of those things? Like in here, it references what is like academic integrity, but I just wondered, it doesn't necessarily reference AI, and I don't remember.
It's in our plagiarism policy, or,
I don't know, I don't know that I just was bringing it up because I think showing kids how it can, this is my personal opinion, showing kids how it can be used effectively is something they're doing in colleges, so that might make some sense for
Yeah.
us to be doing that, but also what it's not to be used for. I don't know that aside from plagiarism, but
We-
it's not in here,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, let me just take a,
I mean,
thank
it
you.
says not in your own voice and
Yeah.
it's alluded to, but.
Any other questions for middle school? All right, move on to high school. I think you highlighted at the beginning the changes, right?
Yeah.
That's really helpful. We did that last year, and
Yeah.
probably the year before too.
and we got the same comment. So
Yeah,
I
so-
figured we'd keep doing it.
Great, keep doing it.
The majority of what you're gonna see in here is really more refinement. There's not a whole lot of wholesale change other than the additions of the new, policies and laws that are alluded to or that you're gonna review tonight. The changes to and again, this affects the 7th and 8th grade policies for late work and reassessment. Those two policies have been in place and they've been at 10 days for a couple of years. And we really wanted to let them play out for a couple of years to see what the impact on students was. But what we kept finding, and this was something that came up at our faculty council retreat earlier in the summer, was students who were finding themselves in those situations on a consistent basis were the amount of work that was compiling during those 10 days, because it's not just, okay, now you have 10 days, everything else stops and you've got to pass this thing in, all the other work coming in and then they've got something else and then they were delaying those like work. It just, the pile got so big for kids. So the hope is that by reducing it from 10 school days to 5, it is more manageable on the student side as well as on the teacher's side to get the feedback and then move forward in the learning.
Page 20, the student lounge. I don't know what the student lounge was, but did that go away?
Yeah, so we're going to be making some changes to TLT, targeted learning time, this year. Kind of across the board, there's been concerns about the efficacy of that and trying to find ways to make it a more effective use of those 35 minutes midday throughout the week. And in the adjustment, and Vanessa has done a ton of work on that and came up with kind of mock schedules for a couple of weeks. And in her draft that we're going to be presenting to faculty, in removing student lounge, there's now a stay day on Mondays for a consistent day to make sure that their scheduling is happening. She found a way for grade level teams to get together, not just departments, which is something we've really been missing. She did a great job with that, and I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any questions that you'd have about something like that.
But one of the reasons for taking out Student Lounge, one of the benefits of Student Lounge was that they get to use their cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
And so without having access to their cell phones during that time, it was kind of something that they earned. That's the goal of Student Lounge. It's like, yay, I get to go, I get to use my cell phone. Well, that's no longer an option. So we took that out and we put in some other options.
So it sounds like targeted learning time will be more Sure.
Yes,
For,
with opportunities for not only intervention, which is what it had been primarily used for, but also enrichments, things like that.
Can you talk a little bit about the changes to the, I assume there are changes, but the detentions, teacher detention and administrative detention and why?
Sure. So some of that was just a reordering of things because it was listed as a 1 hour and a 2.5 hour versus a teacher and an administrative. So we kind of wrote them in accordance with the types of infractions that students are referred to SWIS for. So that isn't it's not a holistic change, it was kind of a reclassification. The structure of detention actually hasn't changed from what we normally do. It's a little bit more structured in here in terms of, again, what's not allowed, why you would have kind of a teacher level or a staff level infraction, and that's why that chart is in there. That's what we've been using in SWIS. That's something that we talk about at all the 4 schools. And the same thing with the administrative infractions. Those are a different category, and that is what would earn you an administrative consequence. So it's more just allowing that cohesion between our practiced and our written, and allowing a little bit more information to be in our handbooks. Was there a specific question on any of those?
I don't think so. That helped explain
Yeah.
Okay.
why it's all yellow. Other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Next up are the athletic handbooks. So we'll start with Belmont Middle School one.
Yeah, so there's not really any changes other than the dates, pretty much.
Questions on the middle school one? All right, we'll move on to high school.
Same thing, it was pretty much just a date change and then a note change in the eligibility thing. It's what it's always been, but I just figured it would be good to put it in there because basically if you read the policy, it's just attempted classes, and by taking an academic support, it's just basically one less attempted class, which is why I put it in like senior priv is, again, one less attempted class.
Same thing with these, we'll vote on them next meeting. Anything for Kima? Thank you. Simple. All right. That's the handbooks. We'll move on to the superintendent report.
Yeah, just, so this evening I want to, if you click on the link that's on your agenda for the strategic plan document, you click on that, so they can walk you through this dashboard. Yeah, we briefly saw it when Nick Cohn presented originally, but this is a public-facing dashboard that's available now to people, particularly on our website under the shortcuts menu over on the right of the home page of it. So I just want to make sure the board is aware of what this looks like and how the numbers have been developed. So if you,
it doesn't look like a link.
Oh, on the agenda?
yeah, just click on strategic plan. It should bring you to
It wasn't a separate section.
everybody there. So one of the benefits of this dashboard is it really lays out the work in my opinion, a very well laid out format that's user friendly. So it starts off, it shows our mission statement, which did not change. It shows our core values. And then it also lays out our strategic priorities, our theories of action, and then the key performance indicators for each of those theories of action are really important. This is what we're going to monitor over the next 3 years. So I'll bring you to learning opportunities, for example. If you look at this, you can see that the first one is perception, authenticity, access. This is one of the things that the students were really looking for, was more authentic type of learning and really highlighting that. So you can see over to the left, those are the metrics that were developed by the Strategic Planning Committee. And this is based on survey results, future survey results, because you can see the baseline is not yet scored. So what the plan is for any of these that are going to be survey related, the plan is to develop a survey to capture the information necessary to determine the scores based on the metrics. And that is going to happen this fall. And once we receive those survey results, then we will fill in this dashboard. The 25, 26 will actually be our baseline. So you'll see that score twice because we don't have those survey results right now to determine what that is. So anything you see not yet scored are based on surveys that need to be developed.
Who's developing those surveys?
We're gonna continue to work with Isobar, Public Sector, and Qualtrics to develop those surveys. It'll be very brief just to get the information that we need.
I just think the surveys are important if we're trying to get the answers of feedback to authenticity / access. Like, I don't know what question you would ask to get the feedback.
That's where we rely on them, but we'll also work this through our district support team, just like we did some of the original survey questions that went out to develop this plan. So we're going to continue working with them. I'll bring you down to graduation rate. So this, I'm the holder of this data at this point. I'm the one that puts this information in this dashboard. And this is based off of what is posted on the iReport. The iReport that you get from the New Hampshire Department of Education, you click on that, you can see what your school district's report card is. So to give you an example here, our graduation rate for 2024 was 91.89%. So if you go over to the metric, between 91 and 93% meets few expectations. So that's where you see that score. Same thing with, post-high school plan articulation. This is based on every year our high school counseling department provides me with information about all of the students' plans coming out of high school, what the percentage of students are going into a 4-year college, a 2-year college, trade school, work, military. 100% of our students were able to articulate what their plan was coming out of high school. So that's why here you can see it significantly exceeds expectations according to the metric. Reading and achievement, that meets expectations. Again, according to iReport, based on the district data, this is on our statewide assessment, the SAS assessment. So reading was at 60% proficient. So if you go over to the metric, you can see there that we're just shy of exceeds expectations, it meets expectations. So that's where the data is coming in. Same thing with math achievement. Our math achievement was at 40% proficient, so it meets few expectations based on the metrics. So one of the things here is that we're going to be able to progress monitor this over the next 3 years, and hopefully we see some of those scores increase based on the metrics that were established by the committee. Learning environment, again, this is a survey result that we need to develop a survey and get the results to get a baseline as well as a 25-26 score. Staff engagement survey, same thing, family engagement survey. Learning resources, so our staff retention rate, Debbie provided this for me. This is basically what is our turnover for the year. And our staff retention rate is 90.7%, which according to the metric here, significantly exceeds expectations.
Is that all staff, teaching staff? Can you?
Yes, does not include retirements. So that's not really necessarily turnover.
So all staff?
All staff, yeah.
So including like, you know, buildings and grounds workers and.
Support staff
Okay.
and.
Just checking.
Is there a way to narrow that down, like per school, like the elementary school, middle school, high school?
But we could dive deeper into that, because this was looking at our entire staff. It comes out to 28 out of 300 staff members that turned over this year.
You do have some staff that cross schools, so they would have to be like an SAU-wide, but if you had staff members that were specific to the school, you could do that.
Then under budget communication survey, so this is something that we would put a survey out to the community as to how well we communicated the budget process. And then the budget yes percentage, this meets few expectations in the sense that I'm pulling this data from what Sean puts together every year on the yes no votes. He has the historical data that he provides. So for 2025, 53.08% was a yes vote. So based on the metric, that's where we're at.
I'll mention based on the metric, and it significantly exceeds of 80% is probably never going to happen. So,
It's good to be hopeful. So I just wanted to go through that with the board so you understand where the numbers are coming from and where the future numbers will come from. And we update this every year for the next 3 years.
You can stop me if I'm headed in the wrong direction, but the company that you mentioned earlier that does the survey, did they have any input on the questions that were asked at the end of the school year for the grading scale that the students were asked?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all.
where did those come up from? I thought we got a board rep.
Those are board questions.
Yeah.
Those are board questions.
And you
Board
said
member
that,
questions, I should say.
you said that this dashboard is available to go out to, and that'll have all of the, so there's 7 pages here, not just the introduction, all of those will be available.
Oh, yeah, so the link you just clicked on is the link that's on our website and pulls you to this dashboard.
Excellent.
So on some of these, I think it might be the achievement scores, for example, which we already have data for. In some cases, we're like a percentage off from, say, the next one up. Is there any thought to not just putting what the baseline score is, but in some cases putting literally what our percentage is as well? I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's an option. It's something I can ask if you.
Only because I'm looking at it, I'm going, you know, at 2 meets fewer expectations. We could be in the 21%, or we could be in the 40s. It's big range there.
Some of them were only off by 1%.
Yeah, so like if we were, yeah, so that 2 could have been a 3 by 1%. But if I didn't know the number, I could say we were at 2 at 21%.
So how are we rolling this out to people?
So I did a email communication back in the spring, just before school went out about this. Want to talk to the board about this because I actually put it in my welcome back letter for our staff that, you know, this is our focus for the year, has our core values, our priorities and so forth, and how to access it. You know, I was planning on doing the same thing towards closer to the start of the school year when people are starting to really like check their emails, think about school and so forth. Put it out at that point. I'm asking the board, what's your involvement in this? Would communication come from the board, or should it just come from me? I think this would be my opinion, this would be a good opportunity for the board to communicate. This is our strategic plan for the 3 years. It's available here. Or I can do that, either or.
I think it's a great idea to come from the board, especially if it's our plan. Well, initiated by us.
Okay, so
I might just have to play.
it's okay. That's okay. I think, again, my opinion, I think it'd be great coming from the board. Be more than happy to work with you, Sean, what that communication looks like. Doesn't have to be long. This is short. Yeah, short and sweet, how to access it.
So is the board okay with me and maybe Alice working with Michael to get something out? Huh?
I think that'd be great. We do the town emails, we do, parents as well as staff, just send it out, get it all out there from the board.
Can it be more prominent on the website?
Instead of the shortcuts, yeah, we put it right on.
Well, is it in the shortcut?
Yeah, it's the first one.
I had to go at it by district. Maybe it's fine. It's
I was
just a lot of
I was
words.
toying with that, I don't know if we just want to keep it on the shortcuts or we want to actually have it
I don't
right
know.
there in the front.
I don't know.
What do you mean right there on the front?
As soon as you pull up our webpage, it's not under the shortcuts menu, it's right there like where we put our posts.
I mean, I think short term or immediately, I would have it both,
Okay,
front and center, and keep it in the shortcut where it's always been. But
great,
because it's new,
That's what I,
highlight it.
because I'm like, oh.
sounds good.
So I'm assuming this is something that will be discussed on day 1 or 2 of faculty being back. If possible, would it be good for a board member or possibly two to be present on that, in that discussion? I mean, I don't know what everybody's schedule looks like, and I know mine is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, historically, I've tried to attend, like, Michael does a first day breakfast or whatever with everyone. There is no way this year at the start of school, for my work, let alone here, I can do that. I love going to that day, because I get to see, faces to the new names, and it's a great opportunity where everybody's, well, a few times I think, everybody's in the same room together. I don't think I can get there, but I agree, I think it would be great if we had some full representation that morning.
You know what day it is?
Yeah, it's on August 26th, so
Tuesday.
I may be able to work.
yeah. So we tend to, on that day, is I do some welcoming remarks. We weren't planning on a big focus on the strategic plan that day because people are anxious to get into their classes, and I have a theme every year, a different theme every year. It's sort of been planned out. We're going to touch on our core values, but I wasn't planning on taking time to go through the entire strategic plan. On that morning.
Now, maybe able to go somewhere further, and no, somebody from the board can give a 90-second blurb on, this is what was created. I think it's really important, we're really proud of what everyone's saying.
I love that. That'd be great.
So, I mean, if you're gonna go, you might as well have a chance to say
I
something.
have to double check and say, but I.
With the tag team. That'd be great. Love the suggestion. So that's what I want to get for an update.
All right. Business administrator report.
So I have sent the calendar for budget development to the attorney. I've not heard back from him yet, but once I get that calendar back, I will be sending it out to the board. Student activity account changes is the next thing in the packet. This is an annual event, adding a new class to the high school and adding a new class to the middle school. I don't know if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
It's up for action.
Make a motion to add the noted VHS, VMS classes to the appropriate student activity account.
Discussion. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The next thing in the packet is the food service annual report. You will see that the food service did lose quite a bit of money this year. The fund balance dropped significantly, in part because there was increases in the expenses and decreases in the revenues. So they used up the fund balance that they've carried forward from last year. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So is a majority of those additional costs expected to carry through this
They're
year?
gonna get
this year?
worse. Yeah, they're gonna get worse because now we have a new Buy America plan that we can't purchase more than a certain percentage of food that's outside American made. So that's gonna drive costs up, especially where the fruits and vegetables are not typically American products. So that's one of the things we're dealing with. We just found out that Hood does not want to deliver to schools anymore. And if you get a delivery to a school, they're increasing your prices. So that's something we're gonna be dealing with as well. And some of the other vendors have increased what the minimum orders are. A school like Canterbury doesn't meet the minimum orders. So we're gonna have to do orders for other schools and then transport the food down here. So we are gonna have more costs coming up.
I know you do this all the time, but just a reminder, it would be nice to, well ahead of time, as you're starting to see these, make a list, a budget time of all the things that we're gonna see notable increases for. Some are, unfunded mandates, whether it's Buy American or whatever, there's going to be an increase for us. I think we need to share that out. Real quick, the more than half of that was salary and benefits. So $17,000 for salary and benefits. That's not changes in number of personnel or whatever. We're at the same.
No, we haven't changed the number of personnel. We had turnover, obviously, in personnel, so some of the people had experience and they came in with some experience. But it's just, we had some openings last year, those were filled, so. But it's the same number of people as always.
Is this up for action?
Yeah, that's what
Oh, it shouldn't be, it's just information.
Okay, I'm like, I don't,
No, there's no X on that one. 1, 2, 1,
I don't know, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, there's an X next to it.
I think I had to do this.
2. Yeah.
So we just take this out of general fund? What do we?
No, because they still wound up with a surplus. They just don't have as huge. I mean, last year they ended with a $122,000 fund balance. A lot of that was additional money that had come in from the state that we used to help offset some of the costs. This year we have a $23,000 surplus. So
So if everything moves similarly to last year, we'd be looking at a $80,000 or $90,000 deficit.
Yep.
And that's taking into account what we budgeted for this school year?
So we budget in the general fund, we budget $30,000 to go over to support food service.
Okay.
But if food service runs into a deficit, the general fund is ultimately responsible for that deficit.
Right.
So you would have to make up that
I
difference.
thought we had years where we always had.
There were years and years, up until COVID actually,
Right.
that we always transferred $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. When COVID hit, of course, everyone was getting free meals, the Fed sent additional money, so that helped build some of that up. And then they had some additional funds that they sent out to districts to help because we had difficulty obtaining some merchandise. So that is gone now too.
So this gets a little bit ahead as far as budgeting goes, but in all those years where we had a deficit, we never increased from the $30,000 to so.
We did, we started out with 10, then we went to 20, then we went to 30, then we went to 40, then we dropped back down, because it would fluctuate so much.
Yeah.
So
are you anticipating changing that for the next fiscal year?
probably are gonna have to, yes.
I mean, part of me feels like we should, even though that we know that general budget will cover it, we should budget what we think we're going to.
Right. And then I am still gonna have to put money in for the meals that people charge, and then if they leave the district and we can't recoup, the general fund has to cover that debt. And there's, as long as they're still in the school district, they're carrying the debt. If they move out of the school district and they haven't paid the debt, we try to collect it. If they moved and there's no forwarding address, the district has to cover that debt.
So last year, we authorized for some of these bills to go to collections. Is any of that?
They collected one. Out of the almost $6,000 I sent, they collected $243.
They being a collection agency?
The collection agency, yeah. So, it's done no good.
All right. Anything else, Debbie?
That's it for me.
All right, on the horizon. I think anyone wants to add it. About the bus schedules at the next meeting.
I'll end up posting them before that meeting.
I have a request, which is probably unfair and I can just do it myself, but typically when I get done, there's like pages and pages, like it's overwhelming. I know for the first 10 pages or so, I won't calculate the first stop to the last stop to try to get a feel for this bus route. Takes the first student 53 minutes to get from home to the school, or vice versa, from the school to home. If there's an easy way to add the first stop to last stop time, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, I'll just calculate it myself. But I'm trying to get a feel for what are our longest routes. And
Do we have any indication whether first student has hired more bus drivers so that if she would cross the line, it's not going to be a problem next year?
They haven't added to their fleet.
Okay.
They're
So I
actively
think you're going to
recruiting.
have to take that into consideration if you're going to measure, like, take, time samples of how long it takes kids, because Canterbury quite often does without bus 11, and they have to split between two buses.
So I think, would we be able to get the bus route in the event that we double it? Is that something we could get added to the bus routes? when
Yeah,
we
I wouldn't
do
know
this?
how to calculate what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but I don't know
Yeah.
how to tell which student goes
No,
home.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So we can see it and sort of understand it a little bit more.
When we were having a problem last year, why didn't we should have asked for that as well. Didn't even think about that.
One of the things we're hoping for, since they have the data running through First View and VersaTrans, which is the software that we initiated towards the end of last year, VersaTrans is supposed to be able to determine what the most efficient bus routes are based on the addresses that are in there, compared to this is what we've always done for a bus route. They actually use the software to determine
So they're gonna do that for this year, potentially redo the whole bus route.
I don't think it's going to redo it much, but using software to determine the shortest route based on the addresses.
And that's something that's gonna increase budget for transportation? Or are they charging us more for that service?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all.
I mean, if there's significant changes, all it's gonna do is save them money on cost per mile.
Yeah, potentially.
All right, let's move on to the volunteer list.
Make a motion to accept the volunteer list with a noted acceptance.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And we have 2 policies for first reading.
So these, Michael and I, knowing that these needed to be reviewed and approved and go through our process prior to the start of the school year, Michael and I met to bring these to you. These are very, very similar to the New Hampshire School Boards Association policies, with just a couple of minor things just specific to our district. But yeah, go on and read them. If you have questions about it, they are based on the recent legislation that passed. If you have questions, we're happy to answer them.
And they're required to be in place.
They are required to be in place for the start of the school year, which is,
Handbooks and all that.
which is why we had to meet separately. Yeah.
Thank you.
You said those differences between the school board one are very, very minor.
Very, very minor.
So these are just info for tonight, and then we'll vote on it next week. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's wordsmithing or nitpicking, it's basically being fed to us. But feel free to ask questions if you have any.
So I haven't read the actual legislation yet, haven't had a chance since being home, but I've heard people talking about, bell to bell. And is that actually in the legislation?
Yes.
Good for them. Nothing but a positive in my book, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be painful.
It's gonna be tough policing.
Yep.
All right. We have nominations, resignations. We can do those in public if there are no issues or questions.
You want to do more than one at once, or people want to separate them out?
We should probably do the appendix B nominations by themselves, but then we can do the teacher nominations.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the appendix B nominations.
Second.
Thank you. Questions? Are they public nature? All right, all those in favor of the motion, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All abstaining, that.
I'll make a motion to accept nominations B, social worker, C, special education coordinator teacher, D, occupational therapist, E, pre-K assistant, F, able teacher, and G, special education teacher.
Second.
Discussion of a public nature?
I only wondered why we were approving a pre-K assistant. Is it a teacher position?
No, I'm not sure why that was included.
Okay, we don't normally, so,
Yeah, I think it was just an oversight. And the special education teacher at the high school is not accepting that position.
Oh, so we should add them on
So
this.
to remove that.
Okay, so,
Mhm.
okay, take it off.
We're amending the motion.
Yes, so amending to remove G nomination, special education teacher at the high school. And do we need to amend E nomination?
No.
So what do we,
Take that out. You don't approve support staff.
Take the pre-K out.
Yeah.
okay, so we're removing E nomination and G nomination.
Yeah, so
All right, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. And we have one resignation that has been. All right, public communication and correspondence.
So obviously Calvin Todd Selectmen, we're trying to come to the meetings now, at least in Canterbury, and I just wanted to bring a couple things up that's come to our attention in town that maybe we can sort of work together and be aware of. First, we start our budget hearings first week of September. So if there's anything that you guys see maybe coming down the pipeline, we would greatly appreciate knowing about sooner than later if possible. I know it's tough doing budget season, but at the same thing, we'll try to keep you guys apprised of what we have coming down potentially as big expenditures next year too. I believe Ken reached out to Debbie with some information about three-phase power to the schools. We still haven't received that report back yet, so we have no update on that, which hopefully, we're hoping Labor Day at the latest, we'll know about Canterbury, and maybe we can work together to do that. And a complaint or numerous complaints that we keep hearing, and I guess this sort of compounds on transportation, is pick up and drop off at the elementary school. People are complaining about traffic. The police are getting a lot of complaints about going up the hill, down the hill, not being able to pass, etc. As a board, as a select board, we've discussed, options or potential ways to do it that we thought might improve traffic flow. I understand with the bus situation with 11, a lot more parents are picking their kids up now because the buses just simply aren't dependable. So we've come up with solutions. I don't know how we share them with you or the board, or potentially is it just Principal Chubb? We don't know how to take that step to kind of give an idea or solution, I guess, to the problem without overstepping our bounds.
Send it right to me, Cal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are just the little things that we're sort of coming in our door, and we just want to keep you in the loop because I don't know if they communicate that with you or not. And other than that, there's really not much more. So once we hear about the three-phase power, we'll keep you informed with the numbers. And then same thing with the budget. I'll be here I think October you guys are back here. First week of October, with whatever updates I can give you in terms of that, and hopefully it helps you guys as well. So if there's anything you guys need from me, I know obviously it's public comment, so you can't, feel free to either email me or email Ken. So.
Thanks. You brought up something about select board. Do you have something you want to mention about Belmont select board meeting?
We've been asked to attend a Belmont Budget Committee meeting on August 21st, so next Thursday. That's at 6 p.m. So I asked Sean and Debbie to come up. The invitation came to me, but
The invitation is for anyone who wants to.
yeah, absolutely.
I told Michael I'd make sure I was there. There was no formal agenda as far as what we're going to be asked, but
No.
we have guesses. All right. We do have non-public items, so I'll make the motion to non-public. Make the motion.